anything about food is big, and it's amazing how our society is actually organized to suppress our awareness of that. In my estimation, it is the biggest social movement in the world today. It is a youth movement, a women's movement, and it is just a one big, kicking, huge movement, where Via Campesina represents well over 15 million farmers around the world. So everything about it has to, almost by nature, be big. Half of the world's population is rural, and a good percentage of the rural population are farmers and food producers. And there's about 2 billion people out of almost a third of the world's population who live off small farms. This is the biggest occupational group in the world. And if you sort of do the math on 6.6 billion people in the world today, for every person who eats only one meal a day, there's a minimum of 2 people who eat the equivalent of 5 meals a day. So if you do the rough math, you can say, on this planet, we're eating 20 billion meals a day. And from what the little I remember of my elementary school math, anything times 20 billion is a big number. And in a certain sense, you might say, we have 20 billion chances a day in the world to do something good to the planet, or 20 billion chances to do something that's not good by the planet, and that's our choice. That's the spirit of food, and I think you see it. That's part of why the people who come to food events are overwhelmingly young, because they understand there's some positive energy here, and you put something in, and it may take a long time before we solve the whole problem, but we start to see some results quickly, and there's that real sense of power with food. There are lots of things that you can do as an individual. Okay, and I'm not saying that government does not have a very powerful and important role to play, but it's certainly a starting point. Like, you can complain that your city does not have composting. Nothing about that stops you from composting in your own backyard. So there's always that opportunity that you can take the right decision into your own hands. And one of the ways that that's been expressed historically is through the power of the movement to boycott. And many people are not aware of the fact that boycotts and food have a very close and intimate history. And very few things have the possibility to go from the negative, you might say, boycott, to the positive, which is boycott, to deliberately buy something which is positive. I often feel that many of the programs that we have in our government were modeled by Rube Goldberg. And that is that rather than do some relatively simple thing that is relatively direct, we do something that's totally not simple and not direct. You know, we're spending billions of dollars to build bridges across, from Detroit to Windsor, so you can go and see both of the beautiful cities in the same hour. And then you build another layer of highways through the Niagara escarpment area so the farmers can wave at the trucks from California bringing in food, when all you have to do is have a localized food system. So I think there's something in the whole realm of, the Europeans call it subsidiarity, which is things should be as low as possible and as high as necessary. That's the model that I think they're striving for in Europe, and which I think we should strive for in food. This is the fourth point about food, which is it's like the Rubik's Cube. You can't solve it if you only look at one side of the puzzle. You got to look at the 6 sides at least. And one of the reasons why we have problems with food is not, I believe, primarily because of evil people trying to do evil things, ironically or tragically. It is because of good people trying to do good things and have only looked at one side of the equation. Food is the original World Wide Web. Okay, this is the web between and among all the species on the planet, and between people and humans, and among people in the world. And we have thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of apps. There are hundreds and thousands of ways that we can apply the magic of food. And it's not just one single route. Whether people have a formal family or a family that they've concocted, not out of blood but out of affection, or whether people have a particular concept of spiritual forces, the point is that food is a time when we usually take a moment to reflect from the multitasking and think about the multiple connections that bring us together. So I like to encourage people to think of the wonderful grace, in my opinion at any rate, of E. E. Cummings, which goes, I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirit of trees and a true blue meaning of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, and which is yes.